As I previewed for you before, we got a half dozen incumbent Republican senators, half of the members running for re-election in the Republican conference in 2014, facing serious or semi-serious primary challenges. So it might be easy to overlook how significant it is for these conservative groups to be going after the man in charge of the Senate Republicans, Mitch McConnell. And it's also a preview of what 2016 perhaps might look like, particularly on the Republican side. So let's bring back the gaggle, Jonathan Coligio, Near Tandon, and Dan Balls. Dan, we got Ted Cruz going to Iowa at the end of the week. I think this is his third trip to Iowa. I'm pretty sure it's number 3, which is, when you really think about it, is astounding.
What year is this?
Now, forget what year it is. How about how long has he been in elective office?
Well, that's a very good point.
I mean, that's what is surprising here. And I've talked to some Iowa Republicans that if the caucuses were today, he might be the runaway favorite, the way that Iowa caucus Republican electorate is.
He might be if it were held today, but it's not going to be held today.
Right.
And, you know, we've seen Marco Rubio as the odds-on favorite to win the nomination, and now everybody dismisses him. We've seen Rand Paul have, you know, more than 15 minutes. And now it's Ted Cruz. You know, it's just a reminder of how short the attention spans of people are, even people who are closely watching politics, and how unsettled the Republican field is.
And you look at your side of the aisle, Nara, and the Democratic field, nobody's really talking about, you know, the assumption is if Hillary Clinton runs, she'll have a semi-serious primary challenge. Nobody's going to let her go completely unchallenged on the left. But what does it look like? Who decides to try to do this? Is it totally a personal publicity stunt for the person that does it? We're not seeing any type of, but any sort of true base anxiety about Hillary Clinton.
Yeah, and I think in 2007 and 2008, the Democratic primary was not really fought on large-scale issues. There were some issue skirmishes, not large.
But it was stylistic.
There was stylistic.
The stuff we were just talking about with the Republicans.
Absolutely.
In many ways, it was stylistic. Confrontation versus go along, get along, central, you know, DLC versus
There are definitely conflicts. If there is a primary, which I don't know if there is a primary, there will be some conflicts. I just think that the ideological issues within the Democratic Party are much less than the Republican Party. The party has been united, in part because of the Tea Party.
Right. I was just
because of the extremism of the Republican Party. You moderates and liberals agree on a whole host of
Bernie
issues.
Sanders and Mark Pryor are staying on the same page in the United States Senate, and that doesn't always happen.
They vote relatively close together on a lot of issues, except Mark Pryor is much more conservative than Bernie Sanders.
Wow. You're just like,
so
you hear it in her head going,
and it's so different.
Somebody is doing a TV ad.
They're so different.
Different. Jonathan was taking notes there, how to use this in a TV ad at Bernie Sanders. But Jonathan, to go back, do you buy into this theory that the Republican primary will be 2 primaries in the presidential year? You have basically the Tea Party primary, who's going to represent that wing, the establishment primary, and then those two face off sort of in the month of March and April as the nomination.
Somebody's going to fight. They're going to fight for that space, definitely. What's going to happen?
There'll be 2 fights for 2 spaces.
Exactly. Right? But what's interesting is because there's we don't know. Every year in the Republican primary, we know who the establishment is. We don't have that this time, so you're going to have a lot of space. It's going to be robust, and I think you could see some governors that we're not even thinking about right now come in and fill that space.
That's right. I would be putting my money on Scott Walker before I'd be putting it on some of these other guys, even Christie or Jeb or Cruz.
I think you're right.
Or Rand Paul. Shameless plugs, Jonathan.
My 1-year-old Eliana Grace started walking. Pretty soon she'll be doing her taxes. I'm very excited.
Wow.
1-year-old walking.
But you are having her participate in the process.
Yes.
You want her doing taxes. You're not totally anti-government. Here.
CAP is the Center for American Progress is celebrating its 10th anniversary, and on Thursday night we have Hillary Clinton speaking at our gala. Hillary Clinton, and we have a conference that day with Jerry Brown, Martin O'Malley, Rahm Emanuel.
Jerry Brown and Hillary Clinton.
Carrie.
That's what I want to see.
92 Redux.
There's a few hours in between.
Oh, really? I'd like to see them on stage together.
I want to plug the Washington Post and Gov, which is our relatively new web operation that's looking at things going on in the states. Everybody now says it's time to look at the states. We're doing it.
There you go. Thank you all. That's it for this edition of the Daily Rundown. Tomorrow on the show, it's Jobs Day. We're going to get the delayed September unemployment report tomorrow. Coming up next, Chris Jansen. Bye-bye.